Hey, and welcome, and we're back. And what we're creating here is a what are we creating here? This is a visualization of general relativity and general and Einstein's mathematically equivalent uh, teleparallelism theory, which has a flat space-time, and we're visualizing that in different ways. Although I see that still there's something um, pointed down here, which is really weird. So let me put on the, it should actually flatten the whole of space-time. The idea is this is the whole of space-time. You can see up here. Below, this is the real Earth. This is really not that clear, though. So the real Earth would also have a little moon around it. That might be interesting to put that in. And basically, this is kind of like the um, Einstein's idea world. And the thing that gravity is the bending of space-time. If you look up teleparallelism on Wikipedia, which we can just do for a second here, Wikipedia, I'll go down the depths of Wikipedia, or slash wiki slash teleparallelism. I don't know if it, yeah, teleparallelism doesn't work. Theory of gravity. Okay, let's see. Pause that. Okay, here, technical to readers for understand. I think most of Wikipedia is too technical for anybody to understand, but we'll get back to that. Teleparallelism, also called teleparallel gravity, was an attempt by Albert Einstein to base a unified theory of electromagnetism and gravity on the mathematical structure of distant parallelism, also referred to as absolute or teleparallelism. This theory of spacetime is characterized by a curvature-free linear connection in conjecture with the metric tensor field, both defined in terms of a dynamical tetrad field. All right, I just read you the academic definition. Now let's strip away the institutional polish and look at the gears. When they say space is curvature free, they're telling you the most shocking thing you'll hear today. The trampoline, this thing, you see this? You've seen that before. This is this, wait, I made it like this. This is this thing that you'll see online. I mean, you see it. We can go here and we can just type in. Okay, then you get perplexity. Perplexity, so politically correct. I really don't like it anymore. General relativity. Relativity. Yeah, now here, boom, here. Yeah, bang. No, well, original. Here it is. Yeah, the trampoline. Another trampoline. No, it's kind of a bowl. Yeah, this is somebody that just took it too far. The whole trampoline thing. Here's your typical trampoline. Trampolines abound. Another figments of your imagination. I'm sorry, I gave it away because this is the most shocking thing you'll hear today. The trampoline doesn't exist. So why am I modeling it? Well, that's kind of like the point of this thing. Yeah, if you want to model something in science that really exists, physics, I think you're going to be a little bit disappointed. But I'm open for. But at least this trampoline doesn't exist, and we know that because the funny thing about this is that teleparallelism, little detail, is invented by, let's see, not the new teleparallel gravity. Yeah, they really don't like this on Wikipedia. Einstein himself. Oh yeah, was an attempt by Albert Einstein, and it is basically, that also is not very clear here. it is completely compatible with general relativity, mathematically. So you can explain everything with teleparallelism, you know, that you can with the trampoline. In this version of physics, and this is what I did here in the visualization, space is as flat as a tabletop. It never bends, as you can see. Yeah, you're going to say it bends here. That's the problem. So I'm going to tell him, okay, can you remove the you see the curvature if I slide the teleparallel slider all the way to teleparallel Einstein slider all the way to teleparallel, there's still like this ghost, or is that the ghost potential? Yeah, well, the ghost, that's the ghost potential. The ghost potential should also disappear because it's that trampoline thing that doesn't exist in teleparallelism. So take care of that. And while you're doing it, put a little moon around the Earth so people know that, it's kind of real or something. So have something to do. Okay, go. So then we can, don't you love it? Okay, so it's going to work on this while I'm going to talk to you about the rest. In this version, it is as flat space-time, which is kind of space, whatever. That's a little bit difficult. It's actually, the time is not actually, it's the time times the speed of light, and it's really weird, and they made speed of light 1, so that you don't have to put the speed of light in, so that there's only a t, and then you think that it's 1t. No, you made c1, yeah, and then but that's another story, and I'm sure at this point you don't believe me yet. Oh yeah, look, it's got moons. Okay, wait a minute. Hey, listen, the top moon is a regular moon. I think it should be a. What do you think yourself? What do you think? It should be a vertex moon. It should be like a line little moon thing. It should be a transparent moon. Shame on you. And put some continents, will you, on the Earth? Because this looks like Neptune on a bad day. Okay, so make it work a little harder. Matter of life and death. Okay, the trampoline doesn't exist. So, why are there that many pictures of trampolines? Not only doesn't the trampoline necessarily exist, it doesn't exist at all. Because, as you can see, if you would have it's based on the idea of the fact that the Earth basically, and that it doesn't do that here, because as you see, the Earth here is like higher up. So normally you'll find the Earth kind of, on like a rubber sheet. The only problem is, what pulls the Earth down on the rubber sheet? Where does that happen? I can tell you, it doesn't happen out in space. No, you put the Earth, which is heavy because you're huge, you're Titan. Not the moon, the mythological creature, and you put the whole planet on the rubber sheet, and they kind of, I don't know, they drift off depending on the inertia. Depending on if you are really, if you are an alcoholic Titan, then you have shaky hands, and the whole thing kind of wobbles away. The thing is, this presumes that there is already gravity under the trampoline pulling the Earth down. That is the bending that actually turns into the gravity, which is completely incomprehensible. How does a curve turn into a force? Well, it's all gonna come to bear, Clarice. It's all gonna come to bear. So, how does an apple fall? That's where the tetrad field comes in. You see? Okay, let's see. So, okay, now you're going to go tetrad field. What the hell is that? Well, here you see this is the other kind of like teleparallelism. And I don't know, because I still have to put some math in. So, should we try to do that to put some like, this math in? Um, hey, hello. Can you put some math in? Like if I roll over the tetrad field lines that are round and beautiful and all that, you know, um, there should be some extra lines pushing the Earth forth, like so that it's known that and it's also, it should be, I think, I don't know if these things are tetrads because, you know, I mean, tetrads are described here as, I don't know where the hell is, um, it, it, a curved grid we use sometimes called a tetrad. Think of a tetrad as a little four-way compass sitting at every single point in space. In a normal world, all these compasses point the same way. They're parallel at a distance. That's where the name comes from. So maybe you can figure out something there. But yeah, and then when you roll over some things, just put some math here, because this is general relativity. You got to throw some hieroglyphs into the mix. So make it work. Make it like turn some, like, put some equations, and then that are related to tetrad fields, and then what's happening on the screen. Fill in those equations with numbers, like the position of the Earth or the tetrads involved, or what have you, or Weizenbock or whatever. You'll figure it out. Okay, go Tiger. So we don't use a curved grid. Oh yeah. So there's basically that. So so that is. Imagine that every single point in space has a tiny invisible 3D crosshair. Every point has a crosshair, a 3D crosshair. Yeah, this we can't visualize because they'll be really busy in the screen. I mean, maybe you have an idea to visualize it, and I could send you the code as well. I mean, it's completely open source. Yeah, and these crosshairs are your local north, south, east, and west. In a vacuum, every crosshair in the universe points in the same direction. This is distant parallelism. It's a perfect frozen grid. But mass and energy are aggressive. You know that. You know that big guy in the bar? Yeah, that's tweaked up, eyes bloodshot red. I mean, talking, yeah, he's aggressive. They don't dent the grid. No, they dent your face. They wrench the crosshairs. So, yeah. So basically, now we've attached to space invisible things again. Yeah, this is great. But honestly, the dent was also invisible. Actually, it's more like quote unquote dent. They don't dent the grid. The curvature of space-time is actually, yeah. Well, this is actually more sensible on the. It's a great game, general relativity, on the stone cold fucknuts scale. So we okay there. They wrench the crosshairs. When the paragraph mentions a linear connection with torsion, it means that as you move from point A to B, the grid isn't curving down, it is twisting. Your north at point A is slightly rotated at point B, and therefore, oh, look, it's got some math here. Let's see, the local gauge field audit. Oh, good Lord. What is these vanishing things? Yeah, here you get into this is why general relativity is so complicated. If you want to make up a story like that and you want to add it all up, you need to come up with some pretty complicated stuff. So the tetrad, the force vector. Okay, now maybe it can, yeah, have a little bit. So yeah, I'm not going into that right now. So basically, it's not like, yeah. Well, the point is, why would the other thing is, if I go back to relativity here, basically in relativity there is you see here there's traffic signs that say geometry only, because in relativity there is, you don't have to remember that, the so-called Levita, what is it, Levi-Civita connection. Sounds very sissy-ish. And in teleparallelism here, you see everything's flat again. Yeah, and you have math, but we could have math for the other one as well. Yeah, you should actually just disappear. Okay, close it down. You have flatness. You have a flat space-time. There's still some kind of, so you see that there is no curvature here, and still there's movement. How is that possible? Well, the thing is that it's not actually visualizing it quite well, because basically it's like you pinch space at every place, like you like if you twist, somebody's, somebody's, I mean, if you're into that kind of stuff, yeah, you can think of something. Yeah, if you twist something, it will. You can see that you could make it turn a certain way. So it is twisting. Your north at point A is slightly rotated compared to your north at point B. And now it comes. You aren't falling into a hole in space. Yeah, it's really difficult, because if you go back to general relativity, remember, and basically here it says geometry only. These are traffic signs, because the theory of relativity could have these tetrads in them. It's these yellow lines. Not those. This is just curvature, basically, that I creatively done. Like, but it does not want to get rid of the. It has too much of this whole thing, this rubber sheet thing in its training data, for it to really have to talk to it very heavily to get it out. But I wanted it to show the curvature like it was a wave that was pushing the earth, but it can't help itself. This is how we've been we've been geometry only. These are just traffic signs, because really, in and now, what is the difference between teleparallelism and general relativity? It's called the Levi-Civita connection and the Weizenbach connection. So here you have the Levi-Civita connection, but the Levi-Civita connection says that you're not allowed to twist your brother's cheek that hard. It's suitable for work, this podcast. Yeah, I'll think about making another one. Yeah, I mean, visualization. So then, if you're not allowed to do something and you make a visualization of something, let's say a city with traffic in it, and you leave out the traffic signs, then everybody sees that. They say, wow, what is this? Is this Elon Musk without ketamine? All the cars, everything is driving. No, there's actually, on every street corner, the car knows exactly where to go. Why is that? Well, because there's a traffic sign. Yeah, yeah, for real. No, not for. Yeah, there is no reason. Levi-Civita says geometry only. No twist. Yeah, and don't shout. Don't twist anything. No tetrads. Why? Because that fucks up Einstein's idea. Remember? And you might say, "No, this is crazy. Come on, this is Einstein." I know. I was of the same. Yeah, yeah. And then I read about Newton, and then I fell off a cliff for a while. Anyway, so we have these traffic signs here, because in reality, you would also put up traffic signs to make sure that, all the planets and matter and the space and the dark energy and the dark space and the strings and I don't know, and Edward Witten himself, together with a kid from that space movie. Who the hell knows, you know? Elon Musk in a car. I don't know that there's no tetrad business around these here parts because this is geometry only. Yeah. And it's kind of nuts to think that geometry, yeah, is exactly something where if you have a geometry only car, yeah, it should drive. It should drive because of its shape. Okay. Yeah, you might say, well, that's because it has a sail. No. Let's say a geometry only rocket, yeah, is like a rocket that just does what it does because of its shape. Yeah. Yeah. So, maybe that's wrong. What's wrong with scientists today is their shape. Maybe they're geometrized. But I don't think so. I think a little bit of twisting would be good. So let's go back to the holy tetrad here. And then, of course, geometry only disappears. And we get some crazy math that nobody needs to know. But, you know, it's just for the people, you know, just to... If you want to stay friends with the physics community, you have to play this game a certain way. You can't just, you know, you gotta... Eventually, I'll teach you the game of general relativity. It's like a book I'm writing, which is like more like a Dungeons and Dragons version. Because really, general relativity is not about reality. Or even you might discuss that, but this is like a game. How to write a paper, you know, in general relativity, and what you can get away with and what not. You might still not believe this, but this gets very interesting. Yeah, and then get that paper passed. But then you would have to contact me personally because I have a few ways to get it passed. And then this is how we crush the gates of scientific gatekeeping. Just publish them. Yeah. Away. Okay, so basically you aren't falling into a hole in space, which makes you move because of an analogy that is too schizophrenic, or no, that's not fair to schizophrenic. It's too inane to go into this now, because why would the planet move around the sun if it falls into a hole in space? Yeah. Because you've seen that. You can have a marble, and then you have like you can in curved thing, it can actually go around. Yeah, but that's the gravity that's doing that. But we're trying to explain the gravity, with gravity that's already there. Yeah, with this rubber sheet analogy that is on top of it not even a good analogy. Why not? Because the rubber sheet is the Earth. Yeah, but if the rubber sheet is the Earth, exactly, then you're at the center of general relativity. G mu nu is T mu nu, and it's not a process, it's a constraint. But thanks to Schwarzschild, we are trying to solve an equation that wasn't an equation to begin with. But by the time Einstein, opened his mouth, nobody was listening anymore. Or that's conjecture. Sustained. Okay, so you're falling in. Now here's an institutional lie that they don't tell you. In 101, the teleparallel math produces the exact same results as Einstein's curved space. I told you already the math is equivalent, so why don't we teach it? Because academia loves the narrative of geometry. And it is beautiful, I have to say. It is beautiful to think that, you have a bicycle or a car that just moves because of its shape. Yeah. And then you drive to your dealer, you get some acid, you go back home. All because of your shape. For instance, DNA, all the shape of DNA was invented that way. Now, here's the Okay. It's easier to show a CGI planet sitting in a cloth dip than it is to explain that gravity is actually a gauge force. Yeah, that is a gauge is a meter, like you know, like you have on machinery, maybe in your car if it's quite old. Well, I mean a gauge. So that you could say that twisting the, you know, a little pinching the. Well, I can't do it here because there's geometry only. But if I would like want to move this thing away, I would. What you actually get in teleparallelism is not these lines. This was a bad visualization, but I actually would go and I would like, yeah, I would. The thing is that this would cause this to pinch all the time. So basically, the sun's influence is pinching, and then you know, and then the space time, man, that must look like a worn out prophylactic after a while of all that pinching. But so that is the thing. They love the narrative of geometry, and so the whole idea is that because general relativity is wholly geometrized, yeah, it doesn't interact with a whole lot of things, and that is the problem. Because you can imagine that gravity does interact with at least a little bit with, I think, pretty much everything right now. And general relativity can, in principle, not accommodate for that. But why do we have? Why are we doing teleparallelism? Because in teleparallelism, which is also slightly more complicated, because as you can see here, yeah, I can't go there. Oh yeah, like this. The tetrad here, yeah, these are the Christoffel symbols. I don't know. This is to make some value disappear. Yeah, yeah, this is a strong equivalence principle. We'll get back to that. But what I like about these things is that they're even more complicated looking than regular tensors. I mean, you know, they have sub, and actually, I don't think it can even really render it because the A here, like that should be. Yeah, I have to stay into the field. God damn. Anyway, doesn't matter. Looks pretty cool. Looks pretty complicated. And that's all it's about. Looking complicated. All right. So in my vague physics visualizations, we're going to see this. You're moving away from the curved sheet into the twisted crystal. Gravity isn't where space goes. It's what the space does to your orientation. Okay then.